Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So did get our hall pass and went racing tonight at MHOR. Unfortunately there was no official vintage class because I was the only one there with vintage cars. Like I said, being the summer, being gas, it is hard to get a full night. And then also I forget INS Omaha is coming up next weekend, so guys are prepping for that and they're concentrating more on their their four-wheel drives, their stadium trucks, their two-wheel drives, to get ready for that. So we just raced against all the new stuff like always because we don't care. So the first thing up is the Cougar. And the first heat I forgot to resync my radio. And for whatever reason, all my trims were off. I fixed the steering, but I was trying to fix the throttle because it would just kind of roll. Like 5% it would be coasting, but the wheels would be turning. And I was in third place in the first heat and just couldn't take it. So I pulled it off and resynced my Fly Sky, and that solved that issue. And then in Q2, we didn't run that great. I think we finished fourth at like 21.505. So we were faster than our Tamiya. The Tamiya we did not run because we had no need to. But plus I wanted to give the Cougar a fair shot, right? I mean, we ran the Tamiya last 2 weekends. Might as well run the Cougar this weekend. So second heat, 21 out of 505. So 2 seconds faster than what we were running with the Tamiya on that track. It didn't really make any changes to the Cougar. It drives fantastic. This is the best vintage driving car, hands down. It's precise, it's smooth, the power's great, it handles well, it jumps well. I can't say enough good things about this. So went through, didn't make any changes, just sauced our tires up again and went out for Q3, and we finished. Everyone ran their fastest in Q3, including myself, and we ran 22 laps at a 5:01. We were about 10 feet from getting 23 laps. That's incredibly fast for a rear motor vintage car. And that we're easily 2 laps up on the Tamiya with the Cougar. And like I said, I didn't make a lot of driving mistakes with the Tamiya, and I didn't make very many with the Cougar when I was on it. So the third qualifier went well. We didn't miss anything. I mean, the fastest car turned 24 laps. I mean, that's almost 17.5 range at MHOR right now on that track. And the guy in front of us was only 5 seconds ahead of us. That was second. So, the Cougar's fast. And I am telling you right now, I forgot how much I love the Cougar. It is the vintage car to have. If you are going to buy a vintage car and race it, I feel the Cougar is the car to have. It jumps. The shocks are great. At MHOR, it's right. I didn't have to change any of the springs. It's all box stock setup. The thing is precise. Obviously, we did do some upgrades. It steers on rails. It drives really well. It's super smooth. It's not herky-jerky. And everything is solid, so it just feels like a better connected, I guess. I don't know how to kind of describe it, but it definitely feels better than any of the other two-wheel drive cars we have. That includes the fan graphite. That includes the Double X. I mean, I will run the fan graphite, and perhaps I think the only car that can compare to it is the B3. Our B3 is incredibly smooth. It's plush, but because it has big bores, that's the only car I can really compare to the Cougar. But the Cougar, no question, it kicks the Tamiya into the ground. Not a doubt. It was quick, and everyone was pretty impressed. I got to flatten out this rear wing. This is just bothering the piss out of me. So I'm going to heat that up and bend that out. So it's a leaf flat. But the Cougar was fantastic. Like I said, no problems the whole night. Qualified for third for the A main, and we were battling. Everyone was battling us. Top 4 guys were really, really close. And I was in I think I was still in third. It was only a couple laps in. I jumped the tabletop and I kind of got sideways, and a guy jumped to the inside of me. And by the time I straightened my car out, he actually hit the back of the shock tower, which ripped out the 2 Phillips screws in the front. And so my whole front end was flailing. So had to pull off. And you'll notice we ran a lot deeper metric screws all the way in into that bulkhead. Here, I guess I'll show you. The screws that come with this kit, I didn't realize did not go that far back. But it's hard to kind of see here. Here we go. So the stock screws only come to about here. I ran a screw that goes all the way down to there. So I'm running like a 18 or a 20 mil all the way back. Carbon steering and stuff was great. There's like no slop in the steering at all. I mean, the car, it was just great. It drove, I guess, like what you would say a new car would drive, right? Like, unless it's an Associated, then there's a ton of slop in that thing. But it was great. And like I said, we broke in the main, unfortunately, not, and it's my fault. It's not like it was the guy's fault. We were all running. It was the early laps in the race. We were close together. And like I said, when he came off, he hit like this edge of the tower and it just pulled everything forward. And that was the end of that. But it still doesn't how do you want to say it? Disregard the laps in the earlier qualifiers. I mean, the Cougar is great. Like I said, our first qualifier, second qualifier, we were already faster than the Tamiya. The third qualifier to almost turn 23 laps, being 10 feet, less than 10 feet, probably because I was on the straightaway. And then you kind of round the end, and that's where the lap timer is. That was probably, I don't know, 7 to 10 feet away, maybe to turn 22 at a 5:01. Like I said, that's fairly quick. And I think I made one small bobble, but that was about it. But the Cougar's the car to have. I don't care. I'm damn near thinking about selling the rest of this stuff and only racing the Cougar because it's smooth. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just smooth. And it's not loose. The car stays planted. It jumps well. Like I said, it handles well, it accelerates well, it brakes well. You can go full speed into a corner and it seems to stay flat. It doesn't want to traction roll or get upset. And yeah, it's kind of surprising results. But and like I said, I mean, I know the Tamiya has the carbon fiber chassis now and we haven't run it since it's got the carbon kit on it. But the carbon kit is not going to pick up 2 laps. I mean, it's just not. So Cougar is the car to have by far. So that was our Cougar, and like I said, we have not ran the B3 or the XX buggy on this layout. So maybe we'll run those and see. So maybe we'll take those fairly soon. But right now, the Cougar's at the top of the board. Now for our RC10T. I cannot tell you how poor quality this kit is. This shit is junk. Yeah, everything is loose. It's got a ton of play in it. I mean, it's just loose. I didn't finish the first 2 qualifiers because shit kept coming loose. Even though I Loctited everything, and it was especially basically the 2 ball studs in the front. So I actually used Loctite gel, and now that's fixed it. So anyway, first 2 qualifiers didn't finish. These RPM ball cups suck. They're already loose. So RPM's junk too. What guys are doing is I'm probably going to switch this all to, I have B6 ends. So I'm going to switch out all the ball studs to metric and B6, get those fixed. Try to reshim some of this stuff, but God, this is horrible. So anyway, the truck was super front end sensitive. It had a ton of steering. It was a little loose in the rear end, so it did a couple things. After the first heat, I noticed my motor was warm, and I didn't want to change the gearing because it was perfect, but we did add a fan to the back. So luckily on the Associated, it's pretty easy just to back the screw out, run a fan, and get that in there. The diff broke in. I mean, the diff's super smooth. The stealth transmission is great. Slipper is set up, so I'm happy with all that. J Concepts motor plate. So the first 2 heats we didn't finish. I extended the wheelbase. Don't set it up with the short wheelbase, set it with the long wheelbase. To take some sensitivity out of the front too, I moved the shocks to the outer hole from the inner hole, and that's the only thing that's not box stock. It's still stock pistons. The rear shocks are still the same as what the manual calls for. I just made it a longer wheelbase, and I laid the shocks down in the front by moving that out, and that made it much more drivable. So in the third heat, we started last. We were able to finish 5th, and we turned 20 laps, and I was just trying to make it through a race. One guy was slower, and I think one guy broke. So that still put us in 7th qualifier for the main. And again, I didn't make any changes. All I did is I went through, I made sure everything was tight and good to go. And I just went out for the main, and we turned 22 laps. What does that mean? It means it's 7 seconds faster than the double XT of Nick's we just had, which was weird because I felt like the double XT was faster. Because you would drive this and like the front wheels would shake because of all this slop. Just all this shit is junk. And the wheels would like chatter. And it didn't feel like it was that fast. But like I said, again, the stopwatch tells you what's fast and what's not fast. And right now the stopwatch says this is 7 seconds faster. I think if you could dial out some of the slop and fix the front wheels as far as them not chattering, it'd be much better. The front spring from the kit, I feel, is 1 rate too soft. It needs 1 rate harder, I think, because it would kind of fall on the front end. There was a couple times where I'd push it into the sweeper, and you could it was getting up a little bit, or the front end would really like kind of dive down. So I think a little spring change there would help, but I couldn't believe it. I guess this is a truck to have. Minus the poor quality. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna have to go through and shim this stuff. Like this is horrible. I mean, my Losi isn't even that way. But the other thing is, obviously we have a Reedy motor, not a surplus. So I'm gonna put a Trinity 13.5 in my double XT, and I'm gonna race that the next time. And I'm gonna put a fan on it as well. I don't know how to get a fan on a Losi, but I'll figure it out. There's got to be some way to mount one, so we'll get a fan on it as well, and we will take my double XT CR now to the track and see, because I feel like the Losi was better, but like I said, the stopwatch tells you what the times are, and it's telling me that this is 7 seconds faster. So didn't really have any issue with anything else on this, except, like I said, just except for these ball studs coming loose. They should be longer so you can use a lock nut on them. They're too close to the wing tubes. Like, I don't know. And the RPM ball cups are already got developing slop. They're junk. The long ones that we ran on the Losis and the long ones that are on mine have no slop. They're super strong. Didn't have an issue with them on Nick's truck, and we were having issues with them on this truck. Like I said, ball studs come loose and popping off the first 2 qualifiers. And then the third qualifier, like I said, we ran great, ran 20 laps, and then almost ran 23 laps in the main, finished 4th against all new trucks, right? Like basically, so it's 6.4s. No one had the new Losi there or anything, but that's what we did. So yeah, I mean, while I'm a little like perturbed at some of this little stuff, I mean, if I just got to shim it out, I'll shim it out. But yeah, we'll shim it out and perhaps get the RC10T back out there again sometime. But it says it's faster, according to the stopwatch. Doesn't lie. So those are the results of MHOR. I don't know if they got the camera working. I don't think they did. There was, again, it was a pretty relaxed night of racing because everyone's getting ready to go to INS in Omaha. And then people are preparing for BK Classic. And I'm going to start doing some testing to figure out what we're going to take to the associated race. I mean, right now it says I should take the RC10T and the Cougar, but we will test like our B3 maybe and our fan graphite now that we got that all back together. I haven't ran that for a long time, so I would like to run that a little bit just to see if it's got the lap times that the Cougar has. So yeah, kind of surprising. I always loved the Cougar. It was great to get a refresh. That thing's great. It's precise. It's everything I wanted. That thing is great, but we got to see how the XX, the fan graphite, and the B3 stack up against it. Blows it to me out of the water. RC10T, I'm surprised. Like I said, I had some teething issues at the beginning. I even tried to go early today to get some laps in and get the diff set and broke in and all that, and we did. But like I said, the first 2 rounds we had some issues, but third qualifier started to feel better at 20 laps, and then, like I said, 22 laps in the main, finishing 4th. It's showing some promise. So I'll just shim it up this week. I'll have to, I don't know. Well, I'll have to figure out something. Shim those up, get the play out of it so I can get the front wheels dialed. The front wheels are super loose. I usually run like a washer behind them, and I got to figure something else out. But yeah, to get some of the slap out of the front end, I think they'll give better front end feel, and that'll dial this truck in to feel just as good as the XXT. And then, like I said, the XXT, we're going to give a shot. We're going to throw a Trinity Slot Machine 2 13.5 in there because we can't throw a Reedy in there. I mean, it's a Losi, right? So we'll throw a Trinity in there. We'll throw our Hobby Wing G2 in there. Both those came today. I'd actually buy this one at MHOR and solder it up. So I got one for the Kinwald. I got one for the XXT. And yeah, we'll get them together and run them that way. So yeah, kind of surprising results, but a little bit of what I thought might happen. So again, like, comment, subscribe. We'll do a weekend roundup tomorrow. We'll run through some stuff. We got some new projects coming and other stuff going on. So we will see you on the next one.